So here's a question from our buddy Victor, who's crushing it in the world as a warrior, but he's burning himself the fuck out. Let me explain. He goes on to say that, Elliot, for the past 6-7 months, I've literally asked too much of my body and my mind, and now I suffer the consequences of not being able to relax or stop for a moment. He continues saying that he works for 15 hours a day, he's training, he's going to school, he's working 2 jobs, and the success is piling up because he says that he is miles ahead with regard to income and achievement than his 3 roommates. He's literally out there with his sword and he is attacking the world and he's bringing home the meat. He's making big shit happen. The problem is he's not finding a way to balance it and it's starting to wear on his body. He's having problems sleeping, breathing, he's got anxiety. He somewhere describes how his stomach is always in knots. He's got butterflies. Ultimately, you're gonna get an ulcer. That's what I had. And he's gonna break down. It's not going to last long. And I don't know how old you are, young warrior. I'm assuming you're probably in your mid to late 20s. You know, you said you live with some roommates and stuff. You're in the heat of the warrior summer. The problem is that you're getting to a place where bringing home the meat from your endeavors is costing you more than it should. And you're starting to suffer from too much heat, too much warrior. Your sword is getting pretty dull and you're not taking enough time to sharpen it. And when I describe the sword, it's a metaphor for who you are, your body. This is our weapon that we bring to the world. This is our machine gun. This is our sword. This here. Everything that we do is a byproduct of how strong our tools are. And your number one tool is not your MacBook, it's not your iPad, it's not your jackhammer, it's not your sword, it's you. You know, take the metaphor and make it a bit more literal, and you ask a warrior, a true soldier in the army, that has one of the best pieces of equipment in his hands to destroy the enemy or whatever the case may be. But if he's not there, if he's not focused, if he's not centered, if he's not grounded, if he's not breathing, if he's not healthy, it doesn't matter how strong the weapons are. It doesn't matter what he does because it's coming from a weak place. So you, my warrior, need to sharpen your sword. When I use this term warrior, I don't want you to get confused with the literal translation of someone who is who's out there killing people or taking over lands or is an agent for the government. I'm talking about 1/4 of what's required to be a fully self-actualized and balanced man. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I really love this metaphor of describing the balanced man as a king, a warrior, a magician, and a lover. And what I'd like to do briefly is describe each one of those and then talk to you about where you're receiving this imbalance so that you can continue to be a warrior but in a much more intelligent fashion. Very first thing is each one of those represent something that you need to, a quality, character that you need to develop in yourself so that you can continue to proceed in life with strength, with focus, with concentration, with creativity, with peace of mind, with joy and pleasure. See, these are all the things that need to be in equal proportion for us to really enjoy our lives and to be self-actualized, to be the strongest version of ourselves. Beginning with the king. In fact, I'm going to leave the king to last because it's one that I'm just discovering what he's all about now. And I'm where I am in my life, being an older warrior. You see, I just turned 35 and I've got the scars. I spent a lot of time and fought a lot of battles, had a lot of sleepless nights and ulcers like yourself during my warrior stages. But I'm becoming a king and I'm becoming a very, very good king. And I'll tell you why in a moment. The lover is the one that I'd like to begin with beyond warriorship because I think many of us understand what it is to be a warrior, and I've spent enough time. I think most of my videos come from this warrior mindset because it's who I've been and I think where most young men who watch my videos are. The lover is the part of you that can come to know, appreciate, and taste, feel, savor the good things in life, be it a warm embrace, a deep kiss, and sexual intercourse with a woman, or enjoying the taste of a aged scotch, enjoying a really fine wine, chewing on a piece of steak and allowing it to melt in your mouth, cooked just right, savoring every piece of it, listening to music with your eyes closed and allowing it to take you off to distant lands because of just how yielding you are into the sounds of the music. I had a great weekend this weekend where I really experienced a lot of what I've come to cultivate in the lover of me, in the lover that's within me. And I tell you what, I won't become the king that I'm to become if I don't cultivate the lover. A king or a warrior who becomes a king without his lover becomes a tyrant, and he burns himself out and he destroys the worlds or his kingdoms around him. Part of what I experienced this weekend, which was my birthday weekend, my 35th birthday, and I actually posted some pictures and videos. Let me share them with you really quickly. I posted this picture where you see I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "Success, die for success." I also posted to summons my warriors. I said to all my warriors out there, what do you pick up when you place your sword down? Pointing to the fact that beyond just exerting yourself and fighting for everything that we want, tooth and nail, blood, sweat, and tears, you've got to pick up something else every once in a while. You've got to put down your sword so that it can be sharpened on its own. Your sword sharpens itself if you care for it. If you put it down and relax for a moment. And pick up something else. And I put up this other picture where I'm smoking a really good cigar that I enjoyed, and I'm sipping on a 12-year-old scotch. Now, if you would have asked Elliot Hulse the Warrior, even a year ago, probably 18 months ago, about cigars and scotch, I'd say, fuck that, fuck you. I'm too busy, I'm picking up my sword, I ain't got time for that. You see, I gave up all pleasures. I still don't even watch TV. I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies, I don't watch sports. I don't engage in most of what people find entertaining or pleasurable. Because I think I'm more eclectic. I choose things that I can come to appreciate because of who I am. And I tell you what, I enjoy good cigar, good music. There's another thing I experienced this weekend, and I put a picture up of, which I'll share with you now, is my good friend Sean Hopper playing some music for me by a fire. And I swayed to his music, and I enjoyed that fire, and I smoked my cigar, and I was in full lover mode at that moment. I know it sounds crazy when you've got two swords in your hands, and you've got the sweat dripping off your chin, and you've got scars on your body, and blood dripping down your eye. To ever imagine closing your eyes, swaying to some music, sipping on scotch, and smoking a fine cigar. But you've got to, at some point, and sooner rather than later, begin to engage in the things of the heart, things of the lover. Because if you don't, you will be an imbalanced king, because a king with no love destroys his kingdom. He burns himself out and he destroys his kingdom because he can't appreciate the love that comes with everything that he spent all his years. I spent a decade. I call it about a decade. I was 25, I'm 35 now. It's taken about 10 years for me to become a king. And I'm just learning what it requires to become a king. And I'm going to continue to expand my empire. I'm going to continue developing the strength as a king, warrior, lover, and as a magician as I continue to progress, as I continue to meet and collaborate with other kings and their kingdoms and continue to take over my world. But it won't happen if I don't set down the sword and I don't pick up a scotch. And you have to do it. Now, I'm not saying you've got to pick up scotch and a cigar, but whatever it is that allows you to relax and enjoy yourself. A lot of guys commented in that picture that I described earlier that they like to smoke marijuana. Well, besides it being illegal, I can totally dig. I understand why. Because you get to put down the world for the moment. Some guys pick up video games. I understand. I've ranted against video games because I think there tends to be you get lost in it. But if you can use it just as a moment for pleasure, pick it up. Listen to good music, not mindless shit that the radio plays and you listen to simply because it's on. Choose the type of music you listen to. I invite you to look into classical music. Learn to appreciate good music, classical music. I personally enjoy Bob Marley reggae, a good country song, and when I'm in warrior mode, it's usually Jay-Z. Jay-Z is one of those warriors who knows how to be a king right now. And that's how I developed the lover in me. Your magician, which I don't want to spend too much time on at this moment, is the part of you that has to develop a particular skill that will allow the warrior to do the work that he does. You see, for example, a part of my magician is making these videos, and I have to continue making these videos or else my magic skill, another way to describe it is my wizardry, gets weak. And a warrior with a sword and no wizardry, no magic that he could bless the world with and take care of his kingdom with is useless. You're just an angry... Now here, check this out. If you don't spend time developing your skills and abilities in your craft, you don't spend time developing your love and appreciation for the finer things in life, even if it's just a beer on a Friday night. Cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right. Zach Brown. And you go from being a warrior to what is ultimately the natural progression for a warrior into becoming a king. You're going to be a sick, sad, depressed, imbalanced king who will have a heart attack, a divorce, his children won't respect him, and ultimately his kingdom will fall apart. You've got to think balance in this regard, and right now it's a matter of developing the lover in you. I've said this once before, and I truly mean it, and it means more now for you than ever. And I've come to embrace it most recently over the past year. And it's a part of the reason why it seems like Elliot changes and fluctuates and is like one thing one day and another thing another day, because you're constantly reinventing yourself based on who you're becoming and the circumstances you now find yourself in. And you couldn't have said this to me when I was lifting stones and attacking the world through strongman and becoming a professional athlete and building my business and building my family, because it didn't make any sense. But I'll say this to you, jot it down, put it in your pocket, and pick it up later, or watch this video later and you'll come to understand. You've got to become a pussy to become a stronger man. A warrior needs to become a little bit of a pussy to continue to keep his sword sharp, and so that he becomes a balanced king, because ultimately that's where you're going, my friend. Put down your sword for a moment, breathe, pick up a cold beer, sit in a rocking chair, have a good conversation with a friend, chill the fuck out, and you will grow stronger because of it. Done.